Look, March was a very busy month. Hey everybody, my name is April. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to be doing the March wrap up. Now, I did not read as many books as I usually do, but it wasn't because I was slumpy or was reading bad things or anything like that. I was just busy. In March, I started and finished this bookshelf makeover project, which took a lot of my time. I have also just been really busy also redoing my daughter's room as well and getting ready for spring in the garden. I've been planting a lot of my vegetables out. I think I've got them all out there now, but also dealing with the bugs out there because they keep eating my flowers and it's so wrong. But I thought I would start this out with a little bit of a haul in March. I did not acquire too many things, and I don't typically do book hauls on my channel because I just don't buy a lot of books. If you see a haul from me, it's gonna be like an ebook haul, which Stuff Your Kindle Day should be happening very soon, and I don't know when. It seems to be being kept a secret. But last year it was at the end of March, and the end of March has come and gone. So where are we? I am all about the free book hauls, okay? But I did acquire a few books and I wanted to show you that. The first one being A Faked Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. I did read this as an ARC last year. Absolutely loved it, 5 stars. It's Viking as Viking can be. Like if you were a fan of The Last Kingdom or Vikings on Netflix, you'll love this. I got the regular US edition because these sprayed edges with the metallic blue, like I'm not always a fan of sprayed edges, but these are gorgeous. I don't even think I've cracked this book yet. On the inside is just blue, and then it has a like Viking inspired imprint on it. So had to get it, loved this book. So obviously I needed it for my collection. I also got The Veiled Kingdom. This is the Amazon edition. I ordered the Barnes & Noble edition and the cover was going to be bright pink, like basically the opposite of what these colors are. However, she put a note out like maybe a week before that Barnes & Noble screwed up and it wasn't gonna have the artwork on the inside hardback cover, which is what I really wanted this for, because can we talk about how pretty this is? Like it's just adorable. And then the back is like this. Like it's just adorable. So I canceled my Barnes & Noble order, ordered this hardback, and then the hardbacks weren't in the first week of release. So I finally just got this like maybe like a week ago now. Anyways, I got that book. Haven't read it yet, but I think I will absolutely love Holly Renee's book. The last book that I acquired, actually, I can't find because it's in my daughter's room somewhere, is Damsel by Evelyn Skye. We recently watched this movie on Netflix, my daughter and I, and we loved it. It's so adventurous, so fun, basically a badass princess situation. And Evelyn Skye has said that the ending in the book is different than the movie. So my daughter and I really both want to read it. So she has it somewhere in her room. Don't know where it is. And she hasn't started it yet either. So we will be reading that at some point together, which I think will be fun to like read something with my daughter. So yeah. Another little haul thing, just because you guys all like my garden stuff sometimes, is I wanted to show you the plants that I acquired for these shelves this month. These shelves will eventually be full of plants, but I wanted to show you the little succulents that I got. The first one is this one. It has fuzzy leaves, so my daughter picked this one out, but I'm keeping it on my shelves, don't tell her. This one doesn't have a fun name really, it just says it's Kalanchoe, I think that's how you say it, Bahardi hybrid. And I think it's hybrid because this plant isn't normally fuzzy, but it has fuzzy leaves. So I don't know. She cute. Also, my daughter also picked this one out because it was bulbous and adorable. This one is called Baby Toes. So I put it in this little adorable vase thing and I gave it some water because it was a little wrinkly. We don't want wrinkly baby toes, okay? And we'll see how she goes. We'll see, because usually a lot of these succulents want a lot of light and I have very, very indirect light here. And the last one I picked out, again, I love weird, funky succulents. And this one is called a split rock succulent. These are the leaves. And basically when this opens, I'm looking at myself, sorry, so I could see. When this opens and the new leaves form in here, it uses the water from these larger ones that are older to feed that one. So you almost never have to water this. In fact, I think they did when I purchased it. So I haven't watered it yet. It's very, very tiny. Again, I just got all these from Lowe's. They had some actually decent selection. So I'm gonna get more. I don't have a pot yet for this little tiny one. So I have to find one. But again, I love weird succulents. So I just wanted to show it off. Okay, now on to the wrap up. In March, I read 8 books, but I DNF'd 2. So technically I read 6 books, which is definitely like half of what I normally read, but that's okay. It's fine. Life happened and we don't have to read a bajillion books every month. It's cool. The first book I read was A Secret Shared with Death by Ariella Isabella. I am a fan of Ariella Isabella's writing and I really, really enjoyed this book as well. This book is about a girl whose village is decimated by elves, and so she kind of wants revenge on the elves. She does have power within her. She cannot die. She cannot die and she doesn't know how to really use that power at all. So Death sees her as a little girl and realizes that she cannot die. So she teams up with Death, and Death says that he can take her to this Fae kingdom where she can learn how to use her powers. So they have a little bit of a road trip to the Fae kingdom. The king takes a liking to her as well. And so there's some elements of a love triangle in this book. This is about her living in the kingdom, kind of starting out her journey of revenge. So Death in here is hot, okay? But he's also a virgin because he cannot touch anybody. Anytime he touches somebody, they die. So when he touches her, it's like, whoa. So I really enjoyed this book. There were parts in it that were a little bit slow. Also in the kingdom, to me, the whole point was her to grow her powers, and you don't really see a lot of that. Like usually in fantasies you'll see like you'll have like a montage, a training montage. That doesn't happen in this book. So if you don't like the training montage stuff, you may be happy, but if you do, you may be sad. However, in place of that, you see a lot of manipulation happening between her and the king and Death. So I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I'm really excited to see where Ariella is going to take this series going forward. The next book that I tried to read for our Mood Readers Book Club with Crystal that we have every month, we kind of go back and forth between a historical and a fantasy. This time it was a historical. We read Elizabeth Hoyt's Wicked Intentions book. Well, she did. She loved it. I think she ended up giving it 4 stars. I think that's where it was, like a 3.5, 4 stars. I can't remember. I'll have to look back, but I'm pretty sure it was 4 stars. I DNF'd it, and I DNF'd it not because I wasn't loving the plot. I actually was loving the plot, but this hero was just getting real creepy. It wasn't working for me. And the audiobook also was really not working for me as well. So I just DNF'd it. I DNF'd it around 30%. Again, the plot was cool. From what I understand, there's kind of a bit of a murder mystery going on. He's like, if you haven't listened to Heaving Bosoms podcast, you should. If you haven't listened to that podcast, one of the characters in Historical Romance from Tessa Dare, they labeled him the Darkwing Duke. And like, that's kind of how I saw this character. He was like this vigilante duke trying to find his mistress's killer. And she knows the ins and outs of like Covington kind of thing, the dark and seedy side of London. So he hires her to kind of guide him through all those places so he can carry out this murder mystery of trying to find the killer. And while he's doing that, he's very predatory on heroin. You know, wasn't enjoying it, so I just stopped reading it. So it's okay. It is what it is. This just wasn't the book for me. The next book I gave, and my first 5 stars of the month, is called The Last Hunt by Abby Grayson. This is a sci-fi space opera romance, and it was exactly what I've been looking for in a space opera romance. It hit every note. This book is about 2 bounty hunters, and they are going after someone together. There is this gigantic prize, right, to get this guy. And the 2 bounty hunters, you have one who is kind of down on his luck. He hasn't been able to catch any bounties for a while, and he's really needing to catch up on some bills. And then another bounty hunter who wants to use the money to get out of the guild that she's part of. And they had a previous situation, so it's almost like a second chance type of thing. Anyways, they eventually have to team up to find this bounty. Along the way, there are firefights that happen between things. They go from planet to planet type of thing. This was very action forward, very hot and spicy. A lot of adventure here as they go from planet to planet or hub to hub, trying to follow the path of their bounty. But also they have some quirky AI side characters. So anyways, I loved everything about this. Love the action, love the quirky AIs, love the heroine and the hero. They both have some really dangerous and dark backstories, and this just hit every single note that I've been looking for in a space opera sci-fi romance, and I absolutely loved it. The next book I read was called Like Flynn by Lauren Smith. This is a historical pirate romance, and I really enjoyed it. I think I ended up giving it, I mean, I don't do half stars, but it would probably be somewhere between a 3 and a 4, so I just rounded up to 4. It's cool. I really enjoyed it. This is with Nicholas. He's a naval officer, and he's tasked with finding a notorious pirate, and he kind of meets up with a mysterious woman who's posing as a pirate. She's not posing as a pirate though. She is literally the daughter of the pirate he's looking for. There's a lot of deception going on, and this one I found really cool because there's a lot of back and forth with the power dynamics of this book, and I really enjoyed it. I think I still like the first one better. The first one I just enjoyed a lot better, but this one was still really good. I love the characters, and for some reason I just really love Lauren Smith's pirate romance. If I can get the 3rd one on audiobook, that's probably the way I'm gonna go. And then I read Love versus the Ooze Monster. This is by Cassandra Gannon, and I've read 3 books by Cassandra Gannon so far. 2 were hits, 1 was a miss. This one was a hit. I gave it 4 stars. This is not a monster romance. It kind of looks like it would be, but it's not. It's actually more like a 1920s Prohibition era mystery. So it opens in a speakeasy, and everyone's drinking and having fun, and then crazily enough, someone starts becoming an ooze monster and kills everybody in the speakeasy. And then you have the mafia boss guy that sold the booze to that speakeasy wondering what the hell happened. He doesn't want like a bad name on his business, so he's trying to find whatever monster killed everybody, and he teams up with his bookkeeper assistant that he's been head over heels in love with ever since he hired her, and they have this great banter back and forth. In the beginning, he kind of sort of but not really fires her, and she just takes that as a personal affront. The entire time was like, she's like, "You fired me." She probably said that like 10 times, but I loved this because I kept picturing that like very Hollywood 1920s way of speech that they have, and just the whole scene, it was very visual, very funny, and also this little like monster adventure. the ooze monster is just kind of in the background, killing people left and right. And as it's killing people, it's growing in size. So they have to figure out a way to stop it in their little town. And it was so fun. Like, it was just a fun, kitschy book that I really enjoyed. And so I gave it 4 stars. I think it could have been shorter, a little bit shorter, just because of what it was. But I wasn't hating on it at all. So 4 stars for that one. And then we get to my weird ass romance book club books. We were going to read very different books this month, but did not try to attain said books before the show, and we realized that it's only available in print. It was something about a poo. We were not about to pay for that. So the first book we tried to read, both of us DNF'd it, was My Wife the Worm. This is by Matt Shaw. The reason we DNF'd it was because his wife dies of cancer, and the beginning is very melancholy and very kind of serious, and we just were not in the mood for that. Like, honestly, we just like weird ass romance time is fun time, and it was just not fun in the beginning. So we both DNF'd it, but I did get a comment from someone who finished it that said that it does get better and funnier throughout the book. I'm gonna spoil it for you a little bit, but he believes his wife is reincarnated into a worm and takes her to a restaurant because they never got to go out while she was alive. So at some point, a bird eats the worm and he freaks out. She's reincarnated again into a spider. He freaks out and kills the spider, not realizing that it's his reincarnated wife. And then I think she gets reincarnated again. I don't know. Apparently that's what this book was. It's definitely a weird ass romance contender. Like, it's short, probably under 50 pages, and weird and just bonkers. But the beginning was so serious that we just weren't into it in the moment. So we went to something completely bonkers and ridiculous, and this is called The Deviled Egg Made Me Do It. And this one is by Holly Wilde, and I think Holly Wilde's gonna be the new author for me. I gave this 4 stars. I loved it. It's super stupid and ridiculous and bonkers and hot. And funny. This one is a girl, she's having a party and she's cooking some deviled eggs, and as she's doing it, she slices her finger somehow on the shell of the deviled egg, and she's like cursing that she can't make these right. But then as she's cooking and cleaning up her wound, she hears a toilet flush, and out comes a man with the head of an egg with devil horns. And I think one of the most ridiculous things about this is she just goes with it. She's just like, I don't know why you're in my house right now, but I can't deal with you. I've gotta make these deviled eggs. Anyways, some bonkers sexy times happens. So this guy not only has an egg head here with devil horns, he's also got an egg head down there with devil horns. And he also has a tail with eggs on the tail. Instead of prongs, there's little tiny eggs. There's a lot of things that happen. The tail goes in the number 2 spot. She loves it. But what's the most funny about this book is that his pubes are chives. And his fluid is very creamy and savory. Anyways, once they're done having that time, he's like, go take a shower. I'll finish prepping for the party. And after she comes down the stairs, after taking her shower, she sees him finishing off the table by filling the eggs with his creamy filling and then snipping off some of his pube chives into the dish. And then all of her friends show up and they also just kind of went with the fact that this guy has an egghead and devil horns, and they loved the food. It was a perfect weird book. I love it. I want to buy it for my shelves. And my last book that I read for March was one that I've been trying to read for months, and that is Deadia by Carrie Lake. 5 stars. Absolutely amazing read. Dark academia. This is a contemporary, which I thought it was more gothic, but it's not. It's a contemporary dark academia. All the vibes are there. A girl is trying to move past the death of her mother. Her mother had a very strange sickness for a while, and at the end of her sickness, these worms are expelled from her, and clearly the girl has trauma over that. For years, for 4 years, she tried to tell herself that she hallucinated it, that kind of thing. Until one day, she writes a paper for her professor about a fake illness. And that professor is like, where did you come up with this? This is quite, compelling. This is actually real. And I'm gonna recommend you to go to Deadia University, which is an elite university on an island. And you can go through the science program there. So she gets like a full ride scholarship to go to this island and study under a renowned professor who they call Dr. Death. Oh man, this was very slow moving, very atmospheric, very tension filled. Very tension filled. This is a student teacher forbidden type of romance, and this was phenomenal. Like, honestly phenomenal. I spent an entire week and a half reading this book and just enjoying every bit of it. It was kind of one of those books where I read a chapter and then I have to stop and think about it, and then I read another chapter and I have to stop and think about it. This kept me up till 1:30 in the morning one night, and I never do that. Like, I never do that. I very much love my sleep, and I will put any book down mid-sentence, mid-chapter when it's time to go to bed. But this one I couldn't put it down. I really enjoyed it. And as busy as I was, I spent most of my time reading this book. So if I could give this 10 stars, I would. It's like, I absolutely loved every second of it. It was gross. It was dark. It was macabre a little bit. It wasn't funny in any way. It was very serious. It was sexy as hell. And I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I definitely need to read more from Carrie Lake. So that was my March. Those were the books I read. Those were the things I got. Let me know if you've read any of these books. And if you want to read The Deviled Egg Made Me Do It, I highly recommend that. If you want a fun, stupid time, and if you want a dark, serious time, I highly recommend Deadia. Like, just loved it. Thank you for joining me today. As always, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.